Hello, I'm Nan Simonson. I wasn't even going to go on today, and I thought, I'm going to share this. I'm not going to prepare for it. I'm going to somewhat shoot from the hip. But I learned something, I'm going to say a long time ago. I don't know if um, 12 years is a long time ago, sort of feels like it. Um, After the death of my husband, I was married 40 years. He passed away, and I traveled for 6 months. I spent time in India. I was at a yoga uh, center where I got a teaching certification, spent a month there full time learning. Didn't do anything with it. I didn't intend to at that time. I was still in grief. And I still won't do anything with that. I don't think you learn enough about yoga in a month, but I learned about Ayurveda and I learned about Ayurvedic ways, the ancient, um, one of the earliest forms of, I'll call it self care and views of the universe. And when I came back after 6 months of traveling the world, um, I went to a retreat in Gainesville, Florida, of all places, an Ayurvedic retreat. And it was actually marvelous. And there was somebody there whom I saw as, I'll say, a counselor. She offered that service. We had the masseuse, and we had the chef, and we had the 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 meditation leader, and this was a well a philosophical, but just as much psychological leader. And I was still in mourning. It was 6 months after, again, my husband of 40 years was gone. And I didn't know who I was. Married him at 18. He died when I was 50, was it 59? And man, oh man, I thought, who the heck am I without this man who guided me? Actually, I married him at 19, met him at 18. And she helped me with something. She taught me, and she called it an Ayurvedic prayer. It's not so much a prayer, and it's not so much. Yeah, I suppose it was. There are elements uh, of ancient wisdom in it. But it's something I did last night. It was something I did the night before. It's something that I realized that when I got back from that place, I did it constantly. I exercise every morning, and even then did, and did even before he passed. I mean, it's what I've always done. Usually for about an hour, a walk, and now I'm running. I'm working on getting through a half marathon in at the end of October, and so I'm running even more and more. I did a couple of 10Ks last year, and well, one this year. And when I do, I either pray or listen to a podcast. Big difference, huh? But at that time, I wasn't listening to podcasts. I was just talking to myself and communing with nature, because my favorite walk is up a mountain near here. Paths are about 4 miles, total loops. And I did it, and I did it a lot. And then I did it for years. Um, and this is, I'll tell you what it is. It's so simple. And the reason I called it life altering is because it, I believe, altered my life. I believe it helped me understand who I am. I believe that what you think about, you bring about. If you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right. Um, I was in sales for decades and decades, from my 20s to my mid 50s. And I helped people succeed in sales. And so we had all these truisms. And this is exactly that. So, what she taught me to do was start off, and this was not secular. This is it was to the universe, to the powers that be. Thank you, and let me do it. All right, to the powers that be. Thank you. Thank you for my existence. Thank you for our beautiful world. Thank you for all I see around me and all I feel. And you can go on with that, and be as specific as you want. This can become a walking meditation, because I would find myself, and as you see it progress, you'll see what I mean. I would find myself sometimes a half an hour later still deep in that meditation of either the gratitude or the asking for blessings on certain people, certain situations. Like right now, the Ukraine would certainly be one that I would hope many of us would be asking for blessings on those people, and on, I'll say, at the times in which we find ourselves where something like that is happening so blatantly, and on and on. And then the last part of it that can be completely life altering is to say, it is commanded that I am one with God, and therefore I am. And then that's where what I think about, I can bring about. That's where you can call it affirmations. That's where the defining of who we are, maybe who we see ourselves as in the future, maybe what we want to be, begins. I am, and she taught me this, and I had never thought of myself as grounded. I thought of myself as whirling, 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 because I felt not unstable, just not clear as to what life would be from that point on. And she said, Nan, you're so grounded. And she gave me other adjectives. She gave me other insights. And they became what was part of that mantra. And I don't know how many of you give any credence to the book, The Secret, but I've read it a couple of times, and I know some people say, oh, please, you've taken it too far, and some people say you haven't taken it far enough. But an example of that would be this affirmation that a gentleman, who is this? Charles Hanel, who wrote the book, The Master Key System, had a very simple affirmation. I am whole, I'm perfect, I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm loving, I'm harmonious, and I'm happy. If it were that simple, many of us, if we recite that, I'm whole, I'm perfect, I'm powerful, I'm loving, I'm harmonious, and I'm happy, could neuro adapt, we could reprogram our mind that can't tell the difference between what is real and what is imagined. And that is true. That's psychologically true. If we, on a regular basis, create I'm going to use the word mantra. I am strong. I am confident. I am kind. I am connected to people I love and who love me. I am creative. I am an author. I am a writer. I am brave. I'm a survivor. I'm happy. I'm fit. I take care of myself. In my case, I don't eat animals. I don't kill things to eat. I nourish for health. And it can go on and on. This can, as I said, I had found myself at times 20, 30 minutes later, deep in that, I'll call that another word, meditation, of defining words of strength, of power, of confidence, of reality. We can't lie to ourselves. I'm kind when I just kicked a dog, isn't going to fly. But much of what we recite, we can bring about in our lives. And I found that that happened. I found that as the years went by, and especially in my travels, because there were times that things got a little gnarly and I was able to take care of myself. I was able to figure things out. I was able to not crumble. I found that I was a strong, capable woman. When I was about to turn 70, as some of you know, 6 months before turning 70, I thought, you know what? I'm going to be 70. I'm going to be 70 and soaring. I'm going to write a book about my reality, my partial, well, not partial, it was a memoir, but part of the book, maybe a quarter, a third of it is that memoir. And the rest of it is about power. Powerfully is a acronym for 10 things that we can apply to our lives to give us strength and longevity and health and happiness and satisfaction, and give us decades of life. Now, how do I know this? Well, I've been a health coach for 3.5 years. I have been recovered as a bulimic for almost 4 years, having dealt with that eating disorder, that addiction, for almost all of my adult life, well, more than 50 years. And I was able to overcome that. I was able to go through the death of my husband not using that at all. Came back a little bit 5 years later, and that's a whole other story. And I noted that in my book. But I suppose my point here is that if we have a tool, and this Ayurvedic prayer becomes a tool, it can be life-altering. I found that the more I envisioned strength, harmony, power, creativity, abilities, a picture of who that 70-year-old, and now I'm 71, I'll go in January, I'll be 72. Yeah, the clock still ticks. And I'm looking forward to at least one, if not two, better yet 3 decades of life with more strength and more power than ever. And this prayer helps. So in the middle of the night last night, I got up and came back to bed and couldn't sleep. I'll recite the prayer. And it will be just a short version of it. And then I'll do some breathing. I don't know if you know about box breathing. 4 in, hold for 4, 4 out, hold for 4, 4 in, 4 out. That equal breath in and out is a kind of a balancing way of breathing. It's used by special forces actually to kind of stabilize. If you do a long inhale and a short outhale, that's energizing. That's Wim Hof breathing, before a Spartan race or something. If you do a inhale with a very long outhale, that's calming. So I will many times do my Ayurvedic prayer with some controlled breathing and be able to fall right back to sleep. Well, back to that practice of it on the mountain. About 1.5 years after my husband died, I realized I loved being in a relationship. I really liked having a partner. I wanted another partner. So, and I was becoming, I was a landscape designer, a practicing landscape designer at that point, and very successful with it. And I was also at that point knowing that I wanted another partner. And my husband had said to me before he died, we knew he was dying. He was on hospice, and we knew that was coming. And it was 7 months after we began hospice, and at home. And he had even said, you've got to remarry, you've got to have somebody else. And I couldn't even imagine it. Well, I started imagining it. Well, I put that into my prayer. I was looking for exactly, well, I had very specific directives of what I was looking for in a man, and I recited it. At the end of my prayer, I'd say, and I'm looking for a partner who is strong, educated, fit, happy, healthy, financially secure, anyway, on and on. Those things that I had envisioned for myself and what I consider brought about or stabilized, I was looking for the same thing in another person. And you know what? The person that I ended up with, because now I have been with my husband Tim for almost 10 years, is exactly what I was asking for. There are times I think, crap, be careful what you're asking for. You want someone alpha? Live with it when they're being alpha. But it's all right. Okay. I think that's all I want to say. Creator of all there is. That's what it began with. Creator of all there is. Creator of all there is. Thank you for your gratitude list. Please bless and protect your wishes, your hopes for anyone in need. And then it is commanded that I am one with God, or one with the universe, or one with the Creator. And then, and I am, and then you strengthen that picture of who you are, where you're going, what you see yourself as, and it becomes as clear as day. You can do it for a minute. You can do it for 20 minutes. You can create a whole world there. I created a husband out of it and got just what I asked for. And it's also a way of just ending a day in appreciation, or beginning a new one with anticipation. So I think that's all I'm going to say now. And, oh yeah, if you can see it and believe it, you can achieve it. Who said that? I don't remember, but that was another one of the sayings. So make it a great day, and pass the word, if you would, that my mission, aging powerfully, living with power, aging with powerfully, power based on lifestyle as medicine. I think I interrupted that flow a little earlier. I've been with I'm actually a member of the College of Lifestyle Medicine, an affiliate member, but I also work and have for 3.5 years with a lifestyle medical practice where we have seen the difference of putting into practice things that affect our lifestyle, like sleep, like stress relief, and this is one of them, like good nutrition, and they are plant-based primarily in terms of recommendations, like movement, at least 30 minutes a day, or as much as you can get in, and falling in love with it. Those things are just part of what we can do to live and age with power. Now I'll really mean what I said and wish you a good day. Have a great day, because I know I'm going to. Bye-bye.